All right, Curt, let's talk about this new first-time homebuyer credit, or not really the new one, but the reformed one, the one that is going to replace the one that first-time homebuyers took advantage of in 2009, that apparently just recently, last Friday, was changed or extended um, through the spring of 2010 through April 30th, 2010. And it's also been expanded, as I understand it, to include folks that previously weren't covered under the first-time homebuyer credit. Um, I think this is awesome. What are your thoughts on this upcoming change?
There's a quite few different changes that I think the public should know about that I think are very exciting. And one of them being that if you owned a home previously, you are now eligible for kind of a move up buyer, if you will, to take advantage of this credit come through April of next year.
Yeah, that's one of the things that jumped out at the page for me too. Just getting the information off of the NAR website. Uh, Folks that have previously owned properties are now eligible if they decided to sell their current properties and purchase something here before the deadline in April 30th, 2010. They would be eligible for a tax credit, and that's awesome. That amount, as I understand it, is 6,500, um, and that does sound exciting. Now, I noticed that there were some particulars as to who qualifies under that homeowner credit. Um, you have to have lived in the property for consecutively 5 years over the past 8 years, as I understand it, and that's certainly going to help a lot of folks. But doesn't help everyone. I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more broad that would include the folks that purchased houses from 2005 to 2009. But as long as you've owned the property for longer than that, then you would be eligible if you were to purchase a property here before the end of April. Did you notice that as well?
Yes, and I agree with you. I think it could have been a little more expansive as far as trying to include a few more people there. But again, I think we take that with a smile and say, if you've owned a home consecutively over the last 5 years and looking to move up, this would be time to take advantage of the government's tax credit.
Yeah. And the good news is that it was it was extended. I mean, it's basically the same up to $8,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers now. That was in place before. And so the first-time home buyers are really under the same program. It's basically been extended through April, as I understand it. The eligibility for first-time home buyers is the same. You can't have owned a primary or principal residence anywhere in the U.S. for any period of the last 3 years. Some other things that I noticed jumped out at the page for me have to do with the income limits. Um,
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
awesome.
Yeah, because I was running into some problems before with the lower amounts on some people, and so I think this increase in income limits. They just to kind of clarify for the people, income limits previously for a single individual is 75,000. Now, if you're a single individual, you have a limit of up to 125,000. And there is they would have to consult a CPA, but if you, there is a kind of a sliding scale up to a max of 145 for a single person that I believe you still get a partial benefit of the $8,000 credit. It's a question of contacting your CPA and getting with the IRS form to figure out exactly how much of that you would still get. But it's my understanding as a single, it's gone from 75,000 to 125 is the new limit, and you could actually make up to $145,000 and still have some benefit. And then as a married couple, it went from 150,000 to the new limit is $225,000, as a married couple, and 245 would be the max. So somewhere between 225 and 245, you'd still get some type of sliding scale partial credit off the $8,000. So again, I think that includes a tremendous amount of people. As far as first-time homebuyers making $225,000 in this area, I think it should.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And now that it's including folks that have previously owned properties, even, I mean, it's a broad coverage of people, and especially as you mentioned in the current economy, I imagine that would include a lot of people that had previously not been included in the buyer the credit. So that's awesome, and I'm excited about that. I really do think that we're going to see some additional activity here in the spring. Um, and that's important for me to get across to the listeners here is that this is going to be disappearing pretty quickly. I mean, we just got the news on Friday that this is going to be enacted, but the deadline is April 30th, 2010, which is coming up pretty quickly. So it's important that people take advantage of this. They fully understand it right now and start taking those steps to execute a purchase if they decide to take advantage of this opportunity, because April 30th is going to roll up on us real quick.
Right, and the clarification there, you have to have a ratified contract, fully ratified by April 30th, and you must settle on that property no later than June 30th. So there's, again, going out looking for houses, and all that takes time, and so it's not something you just kind of pick up in March and expect to try to get in under the wire. I would suggest people really start looking well ahead of that time frame and getting qualified and doing getting all the ducks in a row, so they can take full advantage of this credit.
Right. Yeah, an excellent point. So it's important that you close, like you had said, the end of June is really the date.
Some people aren't aware, but they first-time homebuyers, a lot of times they have to use they may have a parent that needs to co-sign or something to help them with the purchase of the property. As long as the child is a first-time homebuyer, or they are still eligible for this tax credit, even though mom or dad or both of them are not occupying the property as their primary. The children who they have co-signed with are eligible for this tax credit. So FHA financing, I just had two people use mom and dad as a co-signer, and they're going to be able to take advantage of this credit. So again, first-time home buyers, don't be sitting back. Talk it over with your professional and find out what you qualify.
I didn't realize that detail, Kurt. I'm glad you brought that up. That is exciting. So you can get a co-signer on the loan and still take full advantage of the tax credit yourself. That's huge.
Exactly, and we're seeing more and more of that as the first-time home buyer, their income. Exactly, and we're seeing more and more of that as the first-time home buyer, their income or maybe their ratio is just not quite sufficient enough for them to buy it for them on their own, but they may need a co-signer for a short period of time, but they could still take advantage of this. So. The other way is that under FHA rules, if they use FHA financing, if they get a gift for the closing costs of down payment, they can always, once they get their tax credit back, they can always, reimburse mom and dad.
Right. Yeah, those are the details that it really helps to work with a lender who's familiar with the details on how to take advantage of the certain situations when they come up, like you had mentioned there. I've certainly relied on your expertise in the past, Kurt, and I appreciate the help that you were able to provide my clients. Um, that's awesome, and just kind of knowing how to navigate that to get the best programs for the buyers out there is awesome.
Yeah, I wish I was a first-time home buyer. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, you and I both. Well, maybe we can qualify under the current homeowners if we were to decide to buy something.